Alright guys, so this is the third outfit and the third time I've shot this part of the video. This is because first time, didn't have a good enough mic. Now I have a good enough mic. Second time, I got busy. And the third time is now. And as you guys saw by the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about how Giannis and the Bucks' relationship got fractured over time. And in order to understand this, we have to go back in time and see what moves the Bucks made to keep Giannis happy and what Giannis did for the Bucks after the championship in order to understand why Giannis is basically requesting a trade out of Milwaukee. My name is Sujal, and welcome to the first episode of Shockwave Sports. First place we are going to go in this retrospective is the 2023 NBA playoffs, where the Bucks are facing the Heat for the third time in 4 years. And for the second time in 4 years, the Bucks were beaten by the Heat in 5, led by this guy right here, Jimmy Emo Butler.
Woo! Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Yeah. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
VIP, coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, lost life without me. Both feds in the state wanna see by me. The whole city got pissed, heard he got 3. That other rapper got it here, but shouted he not out. Who set the city on fire?
Coming into the series, the Bucks were the number 1 seed, ready to go for their second title in 3 years. The last thing they were expecting was a Heat team ready to go on a Cinderella run. This year just had one of those Heat teams in the playoffs, where a bunch of random role players would go off next to Jimmy Butler just dominating a series. After any team loses a series in the playoffs, you obviously want to try and become better. So the first initial thought was what went wrong for the Bucks. And the Bucks believed it was coach Mike Budenholzer that was the problem. So that sparked a coaching change. But in my opinion, a coaching change is not what was needed. In fact, it could have been a personnel change, could have been a GM change, but Mike Budenholzer was an undeserving scapegoat. And the reason why is because during the series, Budenholzer lost his brother. And so it's fair to think that basketball wasn't at the forefront. Budenholzer just won a championship about 2 years ago. It wasn't a deserving firing for a championship winning coach. And on top of losing his brother, Giannis was also out for majority of that series with injury. Chris Middleton was coming back from injury and wasn't the same all-star caliber player he once was. Jrue Holiday, although an all-star that year, still isn't the player that you want leading your offense through a playoff series. The Bucks were missing their offensive engine in Giannis, and Bud couldn't respond. He had a lot of things going against him, and for that reason, I think he was an undeserving fire. So firing Bud did put a sour on things between Giannis and the Bucks, because that is one of Giannis' longest tenured coaches, and also a coach that helped him win a championship. But nothing put more of a sour on the relationship than losing to this Heat team in 5. But one thing the Bucks do very well is they know how to pivot in order to make Giannis happy at all times.
Lillard, long range 3.
Since at the end of his journey with the Blazers, Dame ended up requesting a trade from Portland, and the Blazers obliged. With so many suitors in the league for Dame, the Blazers ended up sending him to Milwaukee to team up with Giannis. And it just showed Giannis that the Bucks are willing to do anything to make sure Giannis stays happy and is willing to keep competing in Milwaukee. And to start off and lead this new era of Bucks basketball, the Bucks hired Adrian Griffin, who ended up going 30-13 in his first 43 games as Bucks coach, before being fired in January due to the team doubting his coaching ability. Before firing Griffin, the Bucks were the number 1 seed in the East. But who did they decide to replace him with? None other than this guy, Doc Rivers. There are many words to describe this guy. My favorites include the serial choker, the second one, stubborn, and my favorite, undeserving. I'll stand by this. After the 76ers, Doc Rivers did not deserve another coaching job. He in fact was on TV for ESPN at the time, and the Bucks picked him off the ESPN table and then put him on their bench. And for the rest of the season under Rivers, they went 17-19, dropping from the 1st seed to the 3rd seed, heading into the playoffs against an up-and-coming Indiana Pacer team, where Giannis didn't play a single game that series, and the Bucks ended up losing in 6 despite Damian Lillard having a couple of good performances. The decision to fire Griffin and hire Rivers is what set this team back from accomplishing anything special within these playoffs. Going into 2024-2025 season, it was more the same for the Bucks. It was your second season with Dame and Giannis. It was your first full season with Doc Rivers as the full-time head coach of the Bucks, and they did end up going 48-34, which was good enough for the 5th seed in the East and a matchup with the Pacers yet again. But in this series, it was exactly the same as last year. Giannis was injured, Dame had to do a couple carry jobs, and they did end up losing in 5 games to this Pacer team. On top of losing the series to the Pacers in the first round, the Bucks also lost Dame as well, as he tore his Achilles towards the end of the series. So going into the offseason, the Bucks had a lot of questions to answer. So they answered it by signing Miles Turner and letting Brook Lopez walk, which basically cancels each other out. You get a big who can shoot threes and who can also block shots. But the biggest thing that happened that offseason is the Bucks ended up releasing Dame right after he tore his Achilles for them. This move signaled to Giannis that, hey, we're done with you. We're going to put the nail in the coffin for you. This move is a non-competing move. Hiring Doc Rivers was a move that is not a championship-winning move. So that brings us to where we are today, with Giannis asking for a trade from the Bucks. Well, basically requesting for a trade from the Bucks. But my question for you, is it Giannis's fault? Is it the Bucks' fault? Or is it just that this relationship ran its course? In my opinion, there's faults on both sides. And yeah, the relationship did run its course. With the Bucks doing everything they can to keep Giannis happy, they gave him the co-star he wanted, they gave him the coach he wanted. They made sure to keep their star happy no matter what. They pivoted every single time to make sure that Giannis stayed in Milwaukee. But for Giannis, you need to stay healthy. You cannot expect your team to give everything up for you, but you cannot stay healthy in April. And this is not to diss on Giannis. Giannis is one of the greatest players in the league today. He's one of the best players in the league today. But if your star is not ready in April, there's no way that it's Bud's fault that you couldn't win. It's not Dame's fault you couldn't win. You need to stay healthy as the offensive engine of your team. That's my take. It's not Giannis's fault. It's not the Bucks' fault. It's both their faults. The Bucks could have done more championship-winning moves. They didn't need to keep Giannis in there, but they decided to keep Giannis there. And that's why Giannis is in this mode where he's not competing and he's not happy. And that's why he wants to move. So this relationship did run its course. And I'm happy to see Giannis go somewhere else, and I'm happy to see the Bucks move on as well. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Shockwave Sports.